I actually managed to not only learn fast as I said in the previous episode, how to sculpt claymation, how to film it, how to actually edit it in a way that seemed really cool at the time, how to even pursue these contests and organizational deeds I've said about before, even in this podcast alone. But like I seem to just have a really good vibe with this stuff. We can talk a little bit about how I combined it with cartooning, or at least how I seem to trail it in since my cartoony ages of drawing doodles and sketches of 2D art and seeing how that combined with claymation, or even if it didn't already, how it could have been a good adventure for now, if it can be. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit about cartooning and claymation, and we'll talk a little bit about what I actually did literally with Stopmotion and claymation in general. So I'd say that as a step up, yeah, cartooning and being a cartoonist has led to my claymation and stop motion pretty well. When I was really young, I think it was my father who led me in on the idea that I could be a cartoonist, and by extension, he was even more impressed by I decided to do claymation as a cause effect kind of thing of that. I don't know if I ever did any claymations where I did the thumbnail with a cartoonist design, other than maybe the Georgia Placid clip. But that was quite a good start, having a thumbnail with cartooning and then claymation on the side, or vice versa, having claymation as a major part of the art I did, and then cartooning could aid it. I could probably even use a cartoon to help guide some of the character models for future claymation props, but who knows? Or I could do background design for landscapes and then have some kind of oil pastel or plasticine props or even actual acrylic paints for the backgrounds. As I practice background design, that might be possible, but yeah. Thinking back, I think sculpting was definitely the hardest. It was like uh, when I very, very much started claymation, before I even did the very first clips I did on YouTube for the first time, on their MB10, I can link that later. I did have a hard time sculpting. Putting the pressure on my hands was actually a very hard feat to have. Like the clays I was using, I wasn't even using Van Aken or even I got the new class before, but I wasn't even using Van Aken back then as much. I used it a lot later on when I did have it at that age of 13, 14 years of age. But when I had Van Aken, at least it was a clay that was meant for cartooning, or claymation. I had other clays I had to use. Prang, for example, I had to use a bit old block of that for a while, and that was not so bad. It felt like it was moisturized, but it wasn't that bad. So sculpting in a nutshell was the hardest thing I ever did in claymation. That even though I make sculptures without animating them all the time, I still prefer to explain that filming isn't so much a problem, not even in terms of editing, because I can edit the scenes quickly, pretty much, in strictly as much as half an hour. Yes, 30 minutes. I can just put together what's necessary for a claymation to even exist, and then be it. But I can even be quicker than that actually. But I prefer not to. So sorry. I love to edit. That's the thing. So for what it's worth, I think there's more to claymation I could be doing other than sculpting and filming. But those make the majority of how I do live streams. And so when I strictly end, I assume on exactly 2 hours or exactly 4 hours, is because I have an aesthetic kind of thing going for that. It's to make it look cool for like having actually known and planned ahead of time through a spontaneous stream of doing claymation how to actually end those videos, and so it's like it's really cool. There's a lot to see with those live streams. Having to actually sculpt in this film, and the whole time it looks interesting, but it's still like a lot of content to look at. That is quite of a achievement for me to make. So, anyways, I hope that was a little bit extra extensive discussion about. A little brief though, but a little bit more extensive discussion about what I think about claymation and my journey as a crosswind as a claymation anime on this channel on YouTube. So, yeah, it's very much. I might make a 4C or 4D, but until then, see you from the M.O.V.E. podcast.